Hey, what's up, guys? It's about 5 a.m. on January 2nd, 2020, and I am up with my daughter because she doesn't want to go to sleep. So, I'm celebrating 2020. My family, my wife and I are celebrating 2020 with a new addition to our family, which is pretty cool. Um, but with that comes, as you parents know, responsibility that goes beyond your clock hours. And so, up at 5 in the morning, um, just had a feeding. But today's topic for January 2nd um, is something I want to talk about as far as relationship. So, classmates, get ready for this one because I think this is kind of a doozy if you think about it. In your life, think about someone that you've always wanted to be like. Growing up, think about the one person that you wanted to emulate. I can guarantee you, for most of us, the person we wanted to emulate or the person we wanted to be like is actually someone that's close to us in proximity or someone that we saw regularly on TV. Um, Most of us have idols or role models that either were in our lives, were around us, or we were able to just kind of view from afar. A view from afar could be television. And when I think about the many different things that we set our eyes on to be, our goals in life and things of that nature, I think about how I had a conversation with my niece, um, Brianna, who is in law school right now. And my niece was telling me that it's really hard to be what you can't see. And um, that really resonated with me. And I want to share that message, thought with you today, classmates, is if you don't see it, it's really hard to be it. And a lot of times, I think we are really hard on others who may not have the visual resources or the examples we all have in life to do things. And so sometimes what may seem like basic things are not. Um, One of the things my wife often is on me about when we first got married, she would be like, make sure you have a vegetable on your plate. And I kind of would be like, I know, I know how to fix a plate, but the reality is I didn't because, not to say that my family didn't have vegetables from time to time, but we really weren't like 100% like every meal there was a vegetable. And in her family, that's something that she saw, and she was able to carry that with her as an adult. I want you to think about the things that we have in our lives that we see and the things that we have in our lives that maybe we want to see. Um, it's really hard to do anything without seeing it. Um, a lot of people, my wife hosted a vision board party this past week, and on the surface you might go like, well, why is that necessary? But in reality, we all need some sort of vision board. We need some sort of element in our life that we're able to say, okay, this is what we're shooting towards. This is what we want to do. I think that as we get older, we sometimes find ourselves discarding dreams, discarding goals just because of something, a quantity we call age. And so a lot of us have our goals set when we're in our 20s and 30s. But once the 40s and 50s hit, we start discounting ourselves and saying, it's too late for that. But in reality, um, I encourage us to make sure that we have our vision set on things as we enter our 50s and 60s and even into our 70s or after however long the good Lord gives us to live. It's important for us to make sure that we keep the relational things near us that we want to be. Um, there's a saying that empty wagons make the most noise. And what that comes from is a saying that if you were to pull a wagon and let's say it had a lot of contents in it, usually the wagon is a lot quieter when you're pulling it. But when you have elements in the wagon that have nothing in the wagon and you pull it, it's usually very loud because it's making noise because nothing is holding it down. In my life, one of the thing one of the seven wonders of the world that I'll never understand when it comes to relations, the people we have in our lives who don't have room to speak. Make sure as you set your vision board this year, and set your relational goals, the people in your life that you want to kind of emulate, either from afar or closely. Make sure that you have people that have done it. I if we go into a gym and your goals are to lose weight, or your goals are to go beyond just losing weight, but to be a real monster in the gym fitness wise, to really be somebody who is maybe on a competitive level, or maybe you want to be a fitness model or something like that. I'm not saying that I couldn't give input. I'm not saying that I couldn't go up to you and say, hey, maybe you should drink some water. But I'm not the person. Don't pick me to be the person that you listen to if you have dynamic fitness goals, because my track record says that I'm not that guy. And I have to be, I have to be honest with myself, and others have to be able to understand JR's not that guy to go to for fitness goals. Not to say I couldn't contribute in the conversation. Not to say that I couldn't say something that is meaningful in a conversation. But for the most part, I should shut up. I should be quiet when it comes to that conversation, because that's not my area of expertise. But it's oftentimes I find that people do the most talking who've done the least. And as you set your vision board, and as we talk about things like you can't be, it's hard to be what you can't see. Make sure you keep people at bay that have a track record of not doing anything. Make sure you keep at bay people that they don't have a track record of putting nothing together in the area you're talking about. So in the fitness world, I'm somebody that has not been able to consistently put it together. So I'm not the person that needs to be your go-to for fitness. You get what I'm saying? So in the same way, make sure you vet the people in your lives, family or friends, that want to make comments on things they don't know about, or they have failed to accomplish themselves. You would be amazed how many people volunteer information or volunteer their thoughts on a topic, and all you have to do is look back and say, wait a minute. You talking? And it's not to be mean, but it's to be an understanding that you have to make sure that your relationships have purpose, even when it comes to areas of getting insight and advice. If you're not a person that's into spiritual things, if you're not a person that has had a strong relationship with God, with Christ, how are you gonna turn around and then tell me something? Wow, wait, this is what's going on with the word. What? You're not even trying to live your life for Christ, but yeah, you're gonna tell me you've never been able to put anything other together financially. Not to say that you couldn't add to a conversation, but if you've never really been able to put anything together financially, when people are talking about finances, be quiet. Listen. Maybe that will help. My daughter Gloria's making her. See, she's trying to talk right now, but she better listen. But before I have to feed her again or change her or whatever it is that she needs, I just want to encourage you to know that 2020, set your vision, but as you set your vision, make sure you look at your adjacent relationships. Those are the family members, your friends, your coworkers, the people that are good people. I'm not discounting anybody. I believe that a person who's down on their luck on Skid Row could add something to my life. But the reality is, if I'm going to talk seriously about financial goals, maybe this person that's not doing well may not be my go-to source. And you'll be surprised that people making decisions, and you say, well, who told you that? Well, this person. Well, what has this person done? A whole lot of nothing. And it goes to any area. And I could be a person in an area that needs to shut up. Like I said, fitness, or it could be like if it's something that's dealing with women's health issues. I don't need to be talking. I'm a man. I need to be quiet and listen. When we're talking about women's health issues, and it makes me mad when men start talking about, well, this is what women need to do. No, this is what the man needs to do. Be quiet and listen. And if your opinion is asked, give it. But other than that, be quiet. There's a phrase became very common in the past 10 years is stay in your lane. I don't want people to stay in their lane because sometimes that's limiting, the concept of that. But please, by all means, please make sure you understand that you have to be mindful of the people that you're getting advice from, mindful of who you're talking to, and understand that it would be foolish, it would behoove me to listen to someone about the things of God who don't have a relationship with Him and who are not living to please Him. It would behoove me to talk to someone about finances who has never had a consistent track record of putting things together financially. It would make no sense to me to reference someone. So many times I talk to kids working in the school, I'll say, maybe you should think about going to college. And I'll say, they'll say, nah, college is not for me. And I'll say, well, who told you that? And they'll say, my uncle or my this person. And I'll say, well, did this person go to college or graduate? And they'll go, no. Consider the source. I'm in my doctoral program, but in any writing practice, academic writing practice, you have to make sure that you cite your sources. You can't just write your academic work. You have to cite your sources. If I just start writing and then I'm just writing before long, then I'm creating an academic work that has nothing that was a foundation. How do I know that what I'm saying? How can I prove it? So in academic works, you have to, in your references, you have to cite your sources. So people, if they want to, they can look up and say, okay, he got this information based on this. I think we have to, in 2020, in a relational sense, cite our sources. Who are our sources of input? Who are the people that are creating our frameworks for what life is about, or what our financial world should be about, or what our, get the right people. Go to the people that have done it. If you wanna buy a gun to protect your home, don't go to somebody who just got a gun from his friend. Go to somebody who most of their lives they've been around guns and they understand what home security is about. Don't pick just the novelty people. A lot of times that gets us in trouble. So I just want you to think about that. Cite your sources. January 22nd, my name is J.R. Rucker. I'm with my daughter, Glory, at 5 a.m. Cite your sources. Consider the source. Have a blessed day.